Okay, welcome everyone back. We don't have any minutes tonight. I'm going to ask staff, Mr. Pennington, do we have any unfinished business? Or just
The
olive project?
Can you hear me?
No.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So first, only unfinished business tonight is SPEX 06-2019.
Okay.
Applicants requesting approval of a special exception permit for a special events facility pursuant to Article 4, Section 5.23 of the Caroline Zoning Ordinance. In your update from the previous hearing on October 24th, 2019, after discussion with staff, the applicant has lowered the request for number of attendees to be limited to 200 guests per event for 20 events and 150 guests per event for 50 events. The request for number of events has been lowered as well to 70 total events. VDOT's done a safety study on Panola Road, which is attached in your packet. The safety study states that a few slow curve signs should be added to the road and some should be replaced. However, the study does not recommend any other improvements to Panola Road. Included in your packet is a revised general development plan, information from Sheriff Lippo regarding traffic crash information from Panola Road, and all citizen comment letters received to date. You also received a second packet this week with more information that came to us on Tuesday, which is also included in your packet. The conditions that have been changed, you'll see the strike throughs in the conditions and bolded font for what's been changed. So in condition number 5, the special exception issued solely to James Olaf and non-transferable other to one or more of his immediate family members or one or more of his family's business ventures. Number 17, you can see a lot was strike through there. Maximum of total 70 events will be permitted in any 12-month period. Multi-day events shall be considered as one event for each day of the multi-day event. Condition number 20, maximum number of guests attending any one event shall be limited to 150 guests at 20 events and the 20 events allowing 200 guests, and the rest would be at 150 or lower. And number 26, instead of a renewal, it would be reviewed.
Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am. Madam Chairman, in October, I recused myself from this application, and I've continued to recuse myself from this application, and I should do the same tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have comments, questions from the?
Yes, Madam Chair. I've noticed that on item 17, a maximum of 70 total events will be permitted in a 12-month period. Yet when we come over to item 20, they're saying 20 events allowing over 200 persons. And am I confused? Is it going to be 12 or is it going to be 20?
So there'll be, out of the 70 total events,
Yes.
20 events can have 200 people. The remaining 50 events can only have 150 people.
So we're speaking of a total of 70 events per 12-month period. All right, I see how it's divided up now. Thank you. That clears it up.
I have a question just of staff, just to make some clarity. Okay, so this property, I mean, I visited the property twice. It's adjacent to the Mappapani Golf Course. Same owner, correct?
Yes, same owner, and the two properties meet not near the road, but on the back side of the property.
They meet on the back side of the property.
Correct.
And right now, weddings are allowed at the golf course property?
Correct. At this time, the golf course is allowed to host weddings according to their special event or special exception.
Okay, so if weddings are held on this adjacent property, would additional weddings still be allowed on the golf course?
Their special exception would still be in place, which would allow weddings.
Are the weddings there at the clubhouse, I guess, or?
You would have to ask the applicant
Okay.
that.
It's in the Mattapanai district. Do you have any?
They have already begun construction on another barn. I'm not sure if it's finished yet. That barn was permitted as an agricultural structure to house for agricultural purposes. I believe it's supposed to house tractors and equipment such as that. But that building has nothing to do with the special exception. That was permitted as a separate structure that's not associated with the special exception venue.
Not associated, you're saying, with this?
Correct. If you look at your GDP, it lays out an area for the special exception. And so anything regarding the weddings that they would host on this property must be contained within that venue area.
So the weddings on the golf course, the allowances for that are back in back when that was passed, I guess, which has been many years.
That's correct.
So, but this one gives us a little more detail and gives us a little more control over the weddings.
That's correct.
And it's a more likely place. Did y'all need to ask any questions of the applicant?
No, I'd just like to clarify on the barn issue. It's my understanding that that barn is going to be used for storage and in-house equipment upkeep. So that is not something that is going to be open to the public or for use by the public. That is strictly for golf course use only.
I think a biggest concern has always been, traffic on that road and the citizens' concern. But there is weddings allowable there now. So the question is, how can we address, and have more control over the safety and the amount of traffic when the weddings do occur? Would this help us, help the citizens?
Madam Chair, I think that it would, and I would like for all of the citizens to know who have commented on this issue. I have read every word, whether it was written on toilet paper, tissue paper. I have read every word that you have submitted. Some of your concerns are reasonable. Some of those concerns were not reasonable to a reasonable person. And believe me, I'm not trying to preach to the choir, but from what I know of traffic, and I know a lot about traffic, I don't believe the increase in traffic that some of them are foreseeing is going to be noticeable. Some of the concerns were about alcohol and alcohol-related accidents. Here again, if you look at the traffic study that Sheriff Lippa and the Virginia State Police compiled for us, there are not that many accidents on that stretch of road. Certainly, there are no more DUIs on that road than on any other road in this county, Hanover, Spotsylvania, Essex. So I don't believe the concern about a drunk driver is going to be any greater than it is right this minute. Certainly, a drunk driver is not something that we want, but it does happen. I don't believe any of the accidents, and there were only like 2 or 3 within the past 5-year period, none of those could be alcohol related. They were not proven to be alcohol related. So the biggest concern that I think was the noise level. And if I remember correctly, there is only one residence that is somewhat close. There is a buffer of woods between the 2 sites, and I just don't think the residents in the area are going to feel that much of a negative impact on approval of this issue. I was so concerned about it that I even went back into the records and looked up history as well as I could, searching for family grave sites on the property. I could find none. I even contacted the attorney who handled the sale for the Andersons to Mr. Olaf. That attorney did not know of any grave sites on the property. And unfortunately, there were no remaining kinfolk that I could go to. So my search ended at that point because I was desperately searching for grave sites. So I can find no legitimate reason. I don't play golf. I don't go to golf courses. So I don't have a dog in this fight. But I can find no legal reason not to move this forward. And I'll submit that.
Any more comments or questions?
They're public roads for everyone to use. And I have rooting clubs on a very narrow road. To my knowledge, there's never been an accident on it. There's a lot of narrow roads in Caroline County, but if you drive the speed limit, pay attention to what you're doing, there's no problems. People get in a hurry and want to drive fast or late to an event. And a lot of times that's what happens. They're on their cell phones. So I don't see a problem with traffic at all for this thing. And I don't think we should limit the number of any more than what's already been said, the number of events that.
Well, I mean, concerning the traffic, it may or may not increase because weddings are already allowed. I don't, so I mean, the traffic may or may not increase. We'll see. But this might give us a little better control over.
Madam, why don't we look at giving this a year to see how things work out? I don't believe it's going to be a real problem, but I think if we tried to make sure that we are covered, we would allow them to go a year.
I think it's suggested 3, I think, on here.
Yes.
We could, I mean, you could make that suggestion, change it to a year instead of 3 years.
3 years.
So, yeah, it's going to be reviewed whether it's a year or 3 years or. Right now, staff's suggestion 3 years.
The other thing is that, based on what I've read, there's only been one accident in 3 years. One of them was hitting a deer. So I don't think that's a real problem. But I think what we need to do is look at it to give the citizens in that area that we're concerned to cover them.
Do I have a motion or?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
In general welfare and good zoning practice, warrant and approval of this request, I recommend that SPEX-06-2019 be forwarded to the Board of Supervisors with a recommendation of approval with the staff recommendations submitted with that.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried.
There you go. Okay. Now we have a public hearing on RZ01 2020. So the applicant have a presentation. Wait a minute. That comes first, correct? We're going to have a presentation from the applicant or no?
Usually I read the staff report first.
Okay, staff report.
Okay. And Mr. Dudley, we're having a hard time hearing you down here. So when you talk in the mic, can you speak up a little bit for the minutes?
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Madam Chairman and members of the commission, your first and only public hearing tonight is RZ01 2020. The applicant is requesting approval of a rezoning of tax map parcel 83-A-87 from RP Rural Preservation to M1 Industrial. The applicant, MC Dean Inc., is requesting to rezone 32 acres on the west side of Coleman Mill Road at the intersection of the CSX Railroad from RP Rural Preservation to M1 Industrial. A 210,000 square foot building and storage yard are proposed to support the industrial activities on parcel 83-A-83B, which is MC Dean's main complex. The surrounding properties are zoned industrial, business, and rural preservation, and we've included in your pack a map of the zoning of the surrounding area, which also notes the parcels owned by the applicant and a map that provides the distance between the proposed building and the single-family dwellings on the adjacent parcels. The VDOT comment regarding appropriate site distance needs to be addressed on the GDP that has been provided. I've received that updated document today as an electronic copy, and so they have addressed that VDOT comment. A firmer commitment to connecting to public utilities would be appropriate for zoning consideration. Other agency comments primarily related to items that can be addressed at the site plan phase of the project. The comprehensive plan designates this property as being within the Carmel Church Community Plan as rural preservation. The rural preservation designation in the growth area constitutes a holding zone allowing future expansion and of other zoning designations. An example, residential, commercial, or industrial, as appropriate with a comprehensive plan update. Although the rezoning would be inconsistent with the comprehensive plan, the abutting area to the east and west are designated as office industrial and heavy industrial respectively. Given the industrial zoning and proximity to the site, it can be argued that this is consistent with the character of the area. The applicant submitted a proffer statement for the rezoning, which is consistent with the other proffer statements submitted by the applicant with the rezoning request approved in 2018. Statement proffers out 5 by right uses, 7 special exception uses, and proffers buffering of the property lines unless the residential properties become business or industrial. Tax map number is incorrectly stated in Article 1 of the proffers and needs to be corrected. However, I did receive an electronic copy of the proffer statement today, and that has been corrected. So in the electronic documents that I received today, the applicant has addressed the 2 comments that primarily need to be addressed on this rezoning. All the other comments from the health department, utilities, and economic development can be addressed at the site plan.
Okay. Anything else from staff?
No, ma'am. Thank you. No, ma'am. Thank you.
Sorry, y'all's mics are not too good down there.
Sorry.
So you said we have the applicant has a presentation?
The applicant is here. Would you like to make a presentation?
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners, and staff. It is good to be back in front of you tonight. And my name is Scott Courtney. I am with Resource International, and with me is Justin Hicks with MC Dean. First, let me thank you for hearing this case tonight. And like I said, I'm glad that we're all back together, but thank you so much for your time. I'd like to provide just a little bit more information regarding the project and the request that's before you tonight. This parcel will also supplement the current acreage within the Caroline County Center for Innovation and Industry. MC Dean has been working with Mr. Wilson to prepare information for him to submit to the Virginia Economic Development Partnership for their business ready certified sites program. And so that actually will help get property within Caroline out in a national and international venue for review and entice development. So we appreciate Mr. Wilson's work. The concept plan that you have before you shows proposed building with truck access and a separate employee vehicle access for safety reasons. And while the site on the interior is pretty open, we have provided a 40-foot natural landscape buffer along Coleman's Mill and the railroad. We have provided a 45-foot natural landscape buffer that will be maintained against the 3 adjacent residential properties. And as shown in the staff report, our proposed building is at least 460 feet away from the closest residence and almost 715 feet or so away from the one that is the most far. And again, as Mr. Pennington said, we provided an updated graphic of the layout addressing VDOT's comments, and that did not materially change the layout at all. I think right now I'm going to take a break, see if you have any questions, and be available.
Do we have any?
You
Do we
want,
have any questions of the applicant or staff before we do the public hearing?
I was just wondering, sir, where is there going to be a different roadway going into this property than what already exists?
Right now, the access to the property is an angled, overgrown drive, if you will. It will not meet VDOT standards. And so we are looking at relocating it a little closer to the railroad tracks and making it perpendicular.
Thank you, Mr. Courtney. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's hard to see the railroad tracks on here. Can
if you look at the are you looking at the map or the GDP? If you're looking at their plan, you can see Mr. Courtney's labeled the railroad as CSX right of way to the north of the employee parking lot. And so it is hard to see the railroad tracks themselves, but where it says CSX.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that was the location. All right, thank you. Any other questions for now or comments? Okay, thanks. Oh, wait.
Is this just a storage building per se? Mr. Applicant, is this just a storage building per se?
The building's for future use. Right now, there's no specific determination. A likely source would be a warehouse. We currently have a warehouse on Bull Church Road with 100,000 square feet that we plan on moving to our own property. We lease that property now, and over the next coming years that will be moved into our property, and this would be one of the proposed locations for that.
And do we have any idea, especially since we don't know, and this is speculation, do we have any idea how many trucks a day are going to go in and out of this place? And I know now you're just building a big blank building, but do we have any idea in the normal use how many trucks would go in and out of this place?
I don't have an exact number, but it's no more than 10 or 20 per day. It's not heavily used distribution or anything like that. It's warehousing for excess supplies left on jobs that we still have to keep for customers. It's for conduit equipment that's waiting to go to a job. These types of things.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And can staff remind us again if it's rezoned to, it might be in this paperwork, but if it's rezoned to M1, that's what we're talking about, right?
Yes, they're
What's
asking.
allowed on that in general?
In general, in an M1 property, you have assembly, manufacturing, special exception uses such as tow operations and items like that. The M1 district is primarily assembly, manufacturing uses.
So I mean, the
consistent with
building
that.
could end up eventually some more than storage, correct?
It could, yes. MC Dean produces products for various entities, and so they could use this as an assembly building or a manufacturing building or a storage building, however they deem necessary.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We may have more questions. We probably will.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. There's nothing else. I'm gonna have open the public hearing for now.
Madam Chairman, would you like the protocols read?
That's right.
Yeah,
Ms. Zek, do you have the?
I think we can skip the protocols tonight.
Sorry.
I don't think there's anybody here to speak, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But if anyone does speak, please come up, give your name, and we need a general address. And limit is 3 minutes.
Correct.
Is it 3 minutes? Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're speaking for a group, then it's 5 minutes, I think. And it's not a question and answer session. It's just time for you to.
See, you've got it. You don't.
I was coming here long before I was on the planning commission. So I'm going to declare the public hearing open for RZ01 2020. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak at this time? Anyone wishing to speak on this matter in the audience? Okay, last call. Anyone have anything to say on this matter? Public hearing declared closed. I have another question. I was trying to look at this on Google Maps. I really feel like I need to go out and look. I don't know about y'all. I haven't had a chance to look at the property in the general area. How far is this from 95 approximately?
95. Probably 6 to 7 miles. About 6 to 7 miles.
Okay. And it's in Reedy Church, which that seemed kind of strange to me. That's one reason I've got to look at it, because it's in Mr. Smith's district. And
Yes. So MC Dean rezoned their main parcel a number of years ago, off of Coleman's Mill Road. Since that time, they have acquired more properties adjacent to their original location.
yeah, kind of noticed
so
that.
we rezoned 2 of them in 2018, which expanded their site to Dry Bridge Road and a little bit farther south towards the railroad tracks. North towards the railroad tracks. And then this site is directly across Coleman's Mill from the one that was rezoned in 2018. So it is an industrial area, and the comprehensive plan depicts for it to be an industrial area.
It's this particular plot's ruled preservation right beside industrial area, correct?
Right now, if you look at the map with the colors, and so that's our zoning map, and so everything blue is industrial already.
Yeah.
Everything outlined in orange is owned by MC Dean.
Mm-hmm.
And then the little bit of red you see there is business, B1 zoning. The outline of red is the parcel we're talking about tonight. And so
Yes.
there is industrial behind it. There's business across the street from it, and MC Dean's complex across the street as well is all that industrial.
Is that picture we're seeing the buildings MCD already?
Yes. So if the parcel that's pretty much in the middle of your map, the large parcel, that's MC Dean's main complex. Just to the north, that is not owned by MC Dean, but that is also an industrial facility, mainly used for trucking. The parcel with a little bit of B1 on it is the MC Dean parcel that was rezoned last year, but there's nothing on that parcel at this time. And the parcel at the very bottom, it was the other MC Dean parcel that was rezoned, and they have developed part of that parcel at this time. They have not completed it.
So to go to 95, you need to come out of the facility and go west.
They would need to, from what I understand, the low trailers that they use on some of the trucks to move materials out of there, they're 125-foot trailers, and they can't cross the railroad tracks at the bottom of Coleman's Mill. So they actually need to take Coleman's Mill south to Dry Bridge Road, and then go west towards 207 to get to 95. Right. Right. That on the parcel all the way to the south that's theirs, they extended the road from their main facility to Dry Bridge to be able to bypass Coleman's Mill Road and exits directly onto Dry Bridge.
Any other questions? You all may be more familiar with the property than me.
I'm not familiar with it myself.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'd like to table it and get a chance to go really look at what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
That's what the agricultural land. I'm very cognizant of that. I'd like to table that.
Is it possible that between staff and the applicant, something could be set up so that we could see the property, see what we're talking about, see where the trucks are going in and out, that type?
Absolutely. We'd be more than happy to welcome the Board of Supervisors to the facility. We could give you a tour of our operations as they are right now, give you an idea of what we do there. One note I wanted to make was that's the last time we did the rezoning, and we did some incentives with the county. We've added 73 jobs in Caroline County at that facility, permanent, and we've invested so far around $10 million. We continue to move forward towards the kind of $25 million mark that we had set forth on that. So I just wanted to make that note.
That's important.
So, Madam Chairman, if you want to go to a site visit, then I'll get with the applicant and get some dates that are available, and then we'll contact you guys to set up which dates we can go take a look. Just to let the applicant know, we have to come in groups of 2. The Planning Commission cannot come in groups larger than that. Okay. So I will have to make 3 trips with 2 commissioners each to the site.
Okay.
Does that sound good? Okay. So do I have a motion to table this? To defer it to our next meeting?
I make a motion that we defer this until the next meeting.
All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You need motions to authorize. Do we have anything else?
Yes, Madam Chairman. Under any and all matters today, we have a couple items. We sent a memo. Staff is requesting authorization to advertise proposed text amendments for public hearing at the July 23rd, 2020 Planning Commission meeting. First text amendment would be TXT 10-2020, text amendment to add a requirement for cluster mailboxes into the subdivision ordinance, and this is a requirement from the USPS. And we are requesting to go to public hearing in July.
Okay. We had copies of those.
Yeah, it's just a one-page memo that I have here, and the text amendments aren't written out.
That's what I'm saying. Have we
Yeah.
seen those text amendments yet?
No, we just wanted to let you know that we have been working on these. A lot of them are requirements from state agencies or federal agencies, such as the one I'm requesting right now. The USPS has stated that they will no longer deliver to mailboxes, roadside mailboxes in neighborhoods constructed after 2016. And we haven't had any major subdivisions since 2006 that weren't approved prior to 2016. But we've had a couple come on board lately, and the USPS has contacted us and said that they have to have cluster mailboxes. So we need to add this to our ordinance so that we're in compliance with federal agency.
But you'll give us copies later.
Yes. So if you approve the public hearing next month, then it'll come like a normal text amendment.
Okay, so the only thing you're asking for is us to authorize.
All we're asking for is authorization for public hearing.
So moved.
Okay, got a motion?
That's a motion.
And a second.
Second.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion nobody? Motion carries.
All right, Madam Chairman, the second text amendment we're requesting to go to public hearing on July 23rd is a text amendment to add a final plat CAD file to the requirement for subdivision platting. This is to assist with addressing for major subdivisions. It makes it easier with the third-party agency that we use for addressing in Caroline County if we can just send the CAD file to them instead of converting. And so putting this in the subdivision ordinance will allow us to require that at submission and make it easier on the county and the addressing agency.
You're on text amendment 11.
Text amendment 11-2020.
Another motion. So we got to have a motion on each one of these.
So moved.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
And
Motion carries.
Sorry. That's my fault. And the last one, TXT 12-2020, is a text amendment to remove the requirement for fencing around a BMP from Article 15. Our zoning ordinance currently has conflicting statements. And in one section of the ordinance, it says you must build a fence around your BMP, which is Article 15. And then another section that says you're not supposed to build a fence around your BMP. So after speaking with county attorney, we've decided it's best not to require a fence around a BMP. And so we're requesting a text amendment to remove that requirement from Article 15 of the zoning ordinance.
And whose watch did that happen?
Yours.
I wasn't chair.
Yeah.
Okay, another motion.
So moved.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Okay.
And that is everything that we have for you tonight.
So, don't forget about the work session, July 16th. I'm sure staff will remind us. In the meantime, all I need to do is adjourn this meeting until the next one is July 23rd.
Right.
Everything done? Motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed.